is their learning continuity during the COVID-19 pandemic. The continuation of education in the event of a prolonged school shutdown or student absent is known as continuity of learning. It's an important part of school emergency management since it ensures that teaching and learning continue even when one or more pupils' regular attendance is disrupted. A learning continuity strategy aims to ensure that students' learning continues even in the face of natural disaster such as hurricanes, fires, and pandemics. This approach overcomes the challenges posed by the disaster by using creative teaching and learning methods to keep students on pace with their studies. The current pandemic has affected and will continue to undermine education and learners' well-being around the world. Findings suggest that only a small percentage of children in low and middle income nations have access to innovation learning, implying that some pupils may not be learning or progressing. Initial academic achievement and growth must be built on a foundation of consistent educational experiences, which requires continuity of learning. Continuity also helps to align expectation for children's experiences and fosters a shared knowledge of how development stages are linked. Many school systems around the world are reopening in full, in part, or in a hybrid structure, putting millions of youngsters in the midst of a drastically different educational experience. This learning issue is being worsened by the COVID-19 crisis. Due to school closures, up to 94% of students around the world have been out of school. However, there's a question to consider for those who are adopting learning continuity amidst COVID-19. Do kids use and benefit from online learning platforms? How much time do students spend studying at home, if at all? Is it possible for students to learn at all? COVID created personal problems for everyone. Some more serious than others, but everyone had their own struggles. Even when kids face the disadvantages of being locked up, often in confined spaces with relatives or roommates, high academic demands were still must be maintained. What's more, what students know and don't know counts and is a key factor in this domain. And this approach differs in that students may face more distractions and less supervision, which may lower their motivation and concentration. Since there is a lack of human interaction in the learning process, students may learn less in such setup as opposed to those in the traditional classroom. Age and Loigering 2000, Gamage et al. To 2020. Learning disruptions that aren't successfully handled can snowball, whether they're planned or accidental. Despite the fact that disruptive events can take numerous shapes and many decisions must always be on the spot, a learning continuity plan gives a structure and preparation to guide judgments, as well as a clear indication of who will make them. As long as the education sector is engaged, teachers and students have ample support. The curriculum and content of the learning modules are well defined and personalized. Technological limitations are acknowledged, and user-friendly and enjoyable materials are present. Education will continue one way or another. Ramos et al. 2007, Ali 2020. Additionally, the most evident advantage of using such a system is that learners feel empowered to keep working and keep up with their classmates. Who wouldn't want to succeed in the current situation? Knowing that everyone is suffering and giving up, it's understandable that you wanted to learn and progress. This method will serve as a driving force for you to progress, learn something new, and alter everything. According to a study, individuals are more likely to work hard and fight for hope when they are aware that the environment in which they are positioned is on the point of collapsing. To include more, although online courses are not as effective as in-person classes, they are still clearly preferable to none at all. Virtual courses are already allowing students to access lessons and exercises as well as engage with lecturers in a way that would have been difficult even a decade an outbreak had shattered schools. So, though we may be wary of online learning, now is the moment to embrace and develop it. Students, especially students with fewer resources at home, learn less while they are not in school. According to a considerable research foundation built by Carl Alexander at Johns Hopkins University and many others, but they can nevertheless deal well with studying and learning. To conclude, these issues present a chance to increase our understanding of education and adopt long-term, sustainable improvements that will improve the quality of our educational institutions. However, challenges such as connectivity limitations, particularly in rural regions, as well as some educational concerns such as students' performance management, must be addressed in order for the program to thrive. Taking a step back and designing a strategy that involves teachers, students, parents, school officials, and technology based corporations is the best approach to move forward.